I honestly don't know where the time went. It all seemed like yesterday. I was 10 years old as a teenager, high school, college, and young adult, and here I am. I'm turning 58 this year. And I didn't have an appreciation what that would feel like. One of the things that I had told myself when my children were in high school, my youngest son went to college this past fall. And I told myself that when he went to college, that would let my hair gray. I didn't realize how hard it was gonna be for me. I didn't even realize how much my sense of self-worth, my sense of whether I thought I was attractive or ugly was so closely tied to my physical appearance. And I'm one of those people who, whenever I told people how old I was, I'd be like, oh, you look as though you're like maybe 10, 15 younger than I really am. And so I didn't realize how much I was attached to it. But what made me let go was actually a practical thing. Maybe I should make that journey go fast in the direction of letting my hair gray. I've been coloring my hair, and it turned out I'd color it within a week. I'd see this, I'd call it a halo, like I'd have this graying over here in the front of my hair. And I started to do it more and more frequently. And what started to happen, I've never had any problem. I could put any chemical, never had my scalp hurt, never had. But I started to have a tenderness of my scalp, and I started to have patches of like short hair at the top. So my hair was having a lot of hair breakage, and I had to ask myself, do I want to not have gray hair so badly that I'm willing to have my hair fall out and potentially be bald? And of course, that wasn't a hard decision. I thought, no. So I let it go. And the moment I let it go, it was almost like I got a sense of relief. The part of me that's always wants to fit in, that doesn't want to stand out, I found myself not caring anymore, not really caring about what people thought of me. And in a sense, it's given me an extra layer of courage that I've never ever had before, a layer of boldness I've never had before. And in all honesty, because now I'm showing up physically as myself and not caring about what the world thinks, I feel more beautiful than I've ever felt before, not having to worry as much about my shortcomings. And I did have an appreciation how those has started to happen slowly. In my 40s, I went back to work. I'd been taking care of my kids. I was at home with them for about 7, 8 years. And so my late 40s, went back to work in academia, and it was brutal. I didn't recognize at that time I was starting to have some brain fog as a consequence of starting to slowly go through this point at which my body was starting to transition of me not having menstrual cycles. Brain fog, I couldn't stay focused. And at that time, I beat myself up. It was horrible. It was a horrible experience. And I eventually ended up leaving academia. Then after that, I started for the first time needing to wear eyeglasses. Like I could not see. I remember as a kid when my grandmother would ask me to thread a needle. And now I was so encouraged from my home. And what I started to happen when I came to having to thread the needles, when I used the sewing machine, I literally could not see it. And I'd asked my sons to thread a needle for me to begin my sewing. The next thing that happened was like 2, 3 years ago. I've been drinking milk all my life. I lived on a farm. I love milk. I love buttermilk. In my home country, Kenya, we call it sour milk. I love the flavor, the tanginess. I just love it. But the moment I drank milk, it just didn't sit well with me. And it was hard to believe. In the beginning, when I would drink coffee, and that's what I'd have in the morning, and have like a lot of indigestion and stomach problems, it took me a while to come to terms with that, because all along I was saying that, oh no, I've been drinking all my life, nothing would happen. And then most recently, when it came to the forefront was when my hair started graying. I stopped using dry in the middle of October, and a span of a couple of months, all of a sudden, I've got gray hair. And I'm actually beginning to love it. But as I began to review what's out there about for women to support women and the whole aging process, and really embracing the process of aging. I've been really saddened. I really never paid attention to that. I've been saddened to see how much there is content on how to so-called stop the aging process, to reverse the aging, to and then even encouraging women to just for us to dye our hair. There's all these cosmetic procedures, and for me, as somebody who's never really worn makeup, never really done much with my hair, I guess I could go that route, but that would not be me. And I'm not bashing anybody who chooses to have a cosmetic procedure, or maybe color their hair so the gray doesn't show. Nothing against them, but for me, I recognize it was really important. If that's what I felt made me feel better, but it wasn't contingent on what people thought of me, I think it would be okay. But because if I was going to go that direction, was going against everything I've ever done before, I knew it was going to create conflict, and I knew what that would make me feel, how that would feel, because I've never really been a person who spent time wearing makeup and all that. That wasn't me. That was really be living counter the person I am. And I'll be catering to worrying about my fear of what people are going to think of me. So it's been freeing. I'm looking forward to this journey. And what's actually now really clear to me is that no matter what anyone's, whether you color your hair, whether you get any cosmetic procedures, we cannot in any way, as we age, reach our 40s and 50s and older, there's no way you can actually, this way aging works, right now, there's nothing to truly stop you from aging, because at the cellular level, things are starting to happen. Certain functions are starting to go away. And you see, we start having metabolic rate drops. And so it's harder to lose weight. And there's just a lot of things that start to happen, which are really natural process of aging. And so for me, I am embracing that. I would encourage, no matter what you're doing, to embrace that process. And maybe there might be a process time you might be like, oh, I'm going to stop doing this, because it feels like it's like an uphill battle to kind of feel as you're fighting your body and trying to make it look a lot of ways. And I caught myself in a quick, brief moment where I didn't want to talk about how old I was. And I realized that when I was not willing to say how old I was, that to me was telling me I was feeling ashamed and embarrassed about who I was. And that's not how I want to show up. I really don't want to show up in the latter part of my life being embarrassed about who I am. It's a blessing for all of us to be alive and at this age, because so many people before us who have not reached this age have died. So many people are bedridden, and so many people have had so many health conditions. They can't be able to speak, or they just wish they could have the ability to be able to show up fully and be able to live their life as they saw they would live in the second half of their life. So I encourage you to just embrace your process of aging. So I'm on this journey, and I'll be continue to share videos about what I'm doing. And as time goes by, I certainly want to share about what I'm learning from other people who've gone ahead of us, or people who are about our same age who are actually doing aging in a graceful way, unapologetically, and showing up as they are. With that, I wish you God blessing. Follow me, subscribe, and click like button. And with that, God bless you, and have a great New Year.